Hello there, everyone. This is Lacey Yardy, and this week I am going to be doing a presentation on rationalism. And since I'm doing it in a PowerPoint, here is a picture of me. Hello. So, rationalism emphasizes the importance of logical and systematic and intelligent thought processes. So, unlike imperialism, which really bases on sensory information and the processing of that, rationalism is a much more logic and thought-based. So rationalism and empiricism are very different, seemingly. They differ because of the emphasis on logic that rationalism has rather than sensory experience of empiricism. Rationalists believe that knowledge is derived from intuition and deductive reasoning rather than sensory perceptions. Rationalism claims that our minds adds to sensory data as opposed to merely processing it. So rather than a passive mind, rationalism leans more towards an active mind that gives meaning to the information that it takes in. The textbook specifically states that although there's seemingly a large difference between these two theories, that it's not so much what they believe, but rather what was emphasized in each. So they both kind of had a lot of the same ideas, but kind of rationalism emphasized that we had innate ideas and that logic was an important process to gain knowledge, where empiricism really focused on sensory information, and both of them did value the others. They just emphasized one more than the other in theory. So Descartes was the leading figure in rationalism. Descartes believed that knowledge could not be obtained through experiences, but rather through pure reason. He was famous for his career in mathematics, which is something that many rationalists are actually interested in. So the logical aspects of mathematics goes well with this theory. So moving on to Baruch Spinoza, he was actually inspired by Descartes. However, he disagreed with him about separating material substances, and he believed that God and matter are actually the same substance. He came up with a couple of different ideas. One, pantheism, which essentially means that God is everywhere and present in everything. And so also he came up with panpsychism, in which God is so if God is everywhere, then so is the mind. So since he believes that everything is the same substance, that God is present everywhere, and that because God is present everywhere, then the mind too is present everywhere. Believed that there was no difference between sacred and secular, which drastically opposed Jewish and Christian belief systems in the churches, which led him to be ultimately banished from Amsterdam. All right, finally, Gottfried Leibniz. He challenged Locke's assertion of a tabula rasa, or a blank slate, in our mind. Leibniz believed that the mind is highly effective at transforming our experience. He said that something non-material, like an experience, cannot end up creating something material. He believes that ideas are innate and that our brain only influences the ability to have an idea. He also came up with a theory of modonology and asserts that all things are made up of monads, which are what he calls souls. Thanks everyone for listening.